Hey everyone, how you doing? Zarens here. Today we're going to talk about 9.1 DK, Unholy, or Frost, right? So I was going to say how you doing, but I know you're doing fucking good, alright? Because DK is looking really fucking good for Season 2 Shadowlands. So what I suggest is grab a nice celebratory drink, sit back, relax, and let's talk about DK. So what are you thinking, guys? What do you like? You like Frost or you like Unholy? Alright, so we're going to take a quick look at that right now. I'm going to share my thoughts on where I think we're going this season. And keep in mind, while we are going to be talking a little bit about arena and partners, it's not really going to be an arena specific video. It's more going to be tailored towards Battlegrounds. And so that's how we're going to approach this thing. Alright, so first off, we're going to talk about Frost. Because that's what I mained last season. That's what I mained overall. And I think it's in really good shape right now. So we're going to look at Frost real quick. Alright, so first thing off the bat, Frost and Unholy both got buffed really nicely. Alright, the biggest buff for Frost was Pillar of Frost. So Pillar of Frost used to be 66% effectiveness in PvP. They changed that. They undid it. It's now 100% effectiveness. Alright, this is a huge buff to Pillar of Frost. Fortunately, I logged in and I still had my recount from last game, from the last BG that I did. Right, and you can see Obliterate is top damage. This is actually not that big of a difference. Most games, Obliterate is 20% of my damage or more. You can see I maxed out at a 15.7k Oblit. That is absurd. That's fucking absurd, alright, because we're getting that full strength value from Pillar of Frost now. Our sustain is still kind of weak outside of Pillar windows. Oblit is still kind of weak outside of Pillar windows, but as you can see during those Pillar windows, we can get some juicy, just presto marinara sauce right there, boys. Alright. That being said, Chill Streak did get nerfed. I know it's a fucking meme at this point, but they actually nerfed it again on top of the other nerfs that they gave it earlier in the season, which is a fucking meme. But it's a 10% nerf. Chill Streak's still good, especially from a battleground perspective. A lot of opportunities to set it up, a lot of chances for it to bounce around. Still good. Fucking meme that they nerfed it again, but I mean, God forbid that one of the devs playing their warrior or their ret gets killed by a DK. God forbid the dev playing his warrior intervenes his friend, eats a full Chill Streak, and dies. But anyway, there was a big nerf to Frost in the form of Heartstop being removed. Everyone was complaining that it was such an oppressive talent to play against, yada yada. And Blizz said, you know what, we hear you guys, we'll listen to you, so here's Bitter Chill. Enjoy that. Have fun. This is actually the nerfed version of Bitter Chill. So Bitter Chill Edition is really strong for Frost. 8% haste reduction anytime you chain someone. And you can actually save runes by using Frost Strike just as you would rotationally. And it'll maintain your chains for you. Very oppressive talent, really good for Frost, especially in BGs when you're changing the whole team. Because you're mainly, especially rated, you're mainly there for speed control. And grips, of course, but speed control is a big part of it. And so changing everyone, reducing their haste by 8%, just really strong. The other one is Shroud of Winter. Is a new talent specifically for Frost. So I'll drink to this talent right here. And it's kind of hard to drink around the mic, I'll tell you that. So we're going to try that again. Yeah, a little better that time. A little better. It's just a weird angle. Talking about weird angles, Shroud of Winter. So it reduces the range of spells by people within 8 yards of you by 30%. This is really good for a lot of like short range classes, or not short range, mid range classes. Mid-range CC, like Cyclone is like a 20-25 yard range. It's not a full 40. Death Grip is a 30-yard range. This brings it down to 21. So it's really powerful. Anytime you're playing another DK, if you're running this and they're not, it gives you a huge advantage. Shadow Priest, I think with Shadowlands they increase silence to 40 yards, but Psychic Horror might still be 30. But for all those like kind of mid-range classes, this is a really good talent. It's just a question of, are we going to have enough room for it? We got some great talents. We got Spell Warden. I highly suggest you try this out. It's great. Death's Echo has a lot of potential for the double grip, the double Death Advance for mobility. Good potential. Strangulate is obviously extra primo good. That's going to be juicy. But those are talents that we get as both Frost and Unholy, so we're not really going to go into those right now. All right. So those are the big buffs, nerfs, additions, removals for for Frost, ultimately leaving Frost in a really good spot. It was already in a good spot. It's still in a really good spot. It's still going to be a strong spec going into 9.1. But what everyone is excited about right here is Unholy. Unholy got this Necrotic Wounds change, really big, really juicy. It helps eliminate some of our setup, our globals required to set up, because we can pretty much rotate, especially with Necromancer's Bargain, we can rotate Apocalypse to build huge stacks of wounds immediately, or to, I should say, to burst huge stacks of wounds immediately. Gives us a little more upfront pressure, and it increases our damage because we no longer lose the damage from bursting a wound in order to get the Necrotic Wound up. We no longer lose the damage from bursting a Festering Wound, right? So we kind of get our cake and eat it too with this situation here. A couple other changes for Unholy. Razor Bomb, they nerfed it and then they rebuffed it, so it's kind of in a decent spot. Life and Death is much better for Battlegrounds now. Much better for Battlegrounds because of the healing component. The damage component's the same, still really good for RBGs, really good Dispel Protection, does a lot of damage to Spell Protection. So really good for RBGs, and the heal's really good. Necrotic Wounds also has that heal effect, making Unholy a little tankier, which is really good. Doomburst is a new talent. The only problem with Doombursts, and Frost has this same issue too, is that both specs now have so many good talents, man. So many good talents. I mean, this is just me testing stuff out, and you can see, like, I don't have room for Strangulate. I don't have room for Spell Ward, and those are both really strong. I don't have room for Razor Bomb. I don't have room for Life and Death, which I would say is a highly recommended talent for any Battleground setting, especially against any single healer that can dispel disease, which is bound to happen. You know, if H-Pals are meta again, then Life and Death is huge because of how frequently they dispel diseases, especially if they have that talent that dispels everyone in their aura. Just huge burst potential with that. So that being said, right, those are the quick rundowns of what we're looking at in 9.1. All right, so what should you play? What spec is going to be better? And the answer, it depends. It depends. All right, so I think overall, Frost is going to be your melee cleave spec, right? If you play with a lot of warrior friends, a lot of Windwalker friends, a lot of Ret friends, you know, if you have a lot of melee friends or physical damage friends, then Frost is your go-to. Frost is going to be your spec. If you have a lot of caster friends, Unholy is your spec. A lot of spell cleave options for Unholy. Unholy is better against spell cleaves, better with spell cleaves, or TSG. You know, if you're playing with a warrior a lot, it could really go either way. You know, Sharpen plus Necrotic Wounds is just so much goddamn pressure, man. It's going to be obscene pressure. Or a Feral, dude. All right, you heard it here first. Feral Unholy is going to be an insane combo because they have an MS effect and they have a Cyclone MS. So they have two separate MS effects that they can put on, right? They Cyclone the healer, so the healer does reduced healing. They MS the kill target, and you Necrotic Wounds the kill target, and suddenly it's impossible to keep them up. It's literally impossible to keep them up. So you heard it here first. Feral Unholy is going to be absurd next season. All right. So both specs got buffed. Both specs are going to be good. The difference is that Frost was starting from here and Unholy was starting from here, right? So they both got buffed and they're both really strong, but Frost was just starting from a better position. And so I think going into 9.1, a lot of people aren't going to be happy to hear this, but Frost is going to be the better spec. It's still going to be the go-to spec. Both specs are going to be really good, and you're going to see a lot more Unholy this season than you did last season. And if you're a diehard Unholy fan, absolutely go for it. You can do it. Like, I believe in you. It's got the pieces there. You can make it happen for sure. There's still a lot of testing to be done, and ultimately this is all just speculation. All right, keep that in mind. This is all just speculation. We don't have Season 2 gear yet. We're not going to know how the meta shapes until Season 2 gear is available to everyone, and we all have, like, you know, a decent amount of pieces for it. But at the end of the day, both specs are going to be good. I think Frost is still going to be a little more common, but I think it comes down to what are you playing with. What are you playing with? What are the meta comps that you're going to be facing a lot? And you know, as we get more Season 2 gear, how does damage scale in relation to survivability? The more the game slows down, the more the meta slows down, the better Unholy becomes. The faster it remains, the better Frost stays. So ultimately, both specs are in a really good spot. I give a slight edge to Frost. I think if you enjoy both like I do and you're not sure which to play, I give the slight edge to Frost. The only way I wouldn't give the slight edge to Frost is if your friends are Shadow Priests and Aflocks, and you know, maybe like a Necro Boomy or something. You know, if your friends are like heavy rot class players, then I would say stick with Unholy and just double down on the rot. It could be a really rough season for rot if it stays as bursty as it was last season, but both Af and S-Priest got their dots buffed. They don't have the control, or Af doesn't have the control that they did, and S-Priest doesn't have the burst that they did, but they both have a ton of rot. Unholy has a ton of rot, so if that's your shtick, I think you can make it happen. Both specs are going to be viable up to high levels, and ultimately you can really have the option of playing what you want. I'm going to be sticking with Frost. I think Frost is going to be slightly better. I also think the animations are very pretty. Woo! You know, you can see the frozen stickers in the back. I'm obviously really into the Frosty Nips action, and so that's where we're at. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed 9.1, and you know, just remember that it's not just about Frost or Unholy, right? It's about DKs versus the idiots who weren't killed by the Lich King, all right? So just keep that in mind. Don't go to war with each other, all right? We're all DKs at the end of the day. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you got something out of it. If you did enjoy it, be sure to like and subscribe. I'm, you know, just a very pequeño little dog out here, so every sub means a lot. Every like means a lot. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, stipulations, love letters, you can leave them in the comments below, and I'll get back to you as quickly as I possibly can. And I hope to see you around in Battlegrounds and anything else that you're doing this season. So thanks again.